Hello, my name is Mary. I'm an advocate here at Disability Rights, South Carolina, DRSC, formerly known as Protection and Advocacy for People with Disabilities, PNA. This video is the fourth in a series related to effective communication and the rights of deaf and hard of hearing in hospital settings. This video will provide information on your rights and how to advocate for yourself when VRI is being used by a medical provider. The content of this video does not constitute legal advice. We hope the information included in the series will help you to better understand your rights and how to advocate for effective communication in these settings. If you have questions related to your specific situation, contact us with the information provided at the end of the video. When you request an interpreter, sometimes doctors' offices or medical providers will offer VRI in place of an on-site interpreter. Keep in mind, VRI can be considered effective communication, but that depends on individual circumstances. The important thing to remember when using VRI is the effectiveness of the communication. Are you able to fully understand and participate in the conversation? If not, then it is not effective. In order for VRI to be considered effective communication, the internet connection must be fast enough to allow for high-speed video to run smoothly. The video itself cannot pixelate or freeze. Staff at the location must be familiar enough with VRI to open it in a reasonable amount of time. The interpreter on the screen must be able to see clearly and hear the medical provider's voice clearly. You must also be able to see the interpreter clearly regardless of what position you are in. VRI can be used in emergency situations where decisions must be made before an interpreter can arrive. It can also be used in discussions with up to 3 people, or with minimal communication. VRI itself is generally not effective in situations with many people involved in the discussion, or in discussions that require a lot of back and forth and in-depth explanation. As we mentioned before, VRI can provide effective communication. Keep in mind, when offered VRI, unless there's a reason why you cannot use it, for example, if you have low vision or are unable to orient yourself in such a way to see clearly. We recommend you not refuse VRI. If you refuse, the hospital would say that it would have worked if you just tried. If you try and it does not work, you'll be able to explain all the reasons it was ineffective. If you were offered VRI, but you're not satisfied by the communication, there are some ways to express your concerns. We recommend you express your concerns to the office manager or the language services department. Often, doctors and nurses are unaware of other options available, and often doctors and nurses cannot enforce office-wide change. We recommend you document your concerns and difficulties communicating. This can be given to the medical provider. Family and friends can help you document if you feel your English skills aren't strong. We also recommend you document any responses you receive from a medical provider. That documentation is really just for your own records. You can use alternate methods of documenting, for example, recording yourself signing. If staff at the medical office are not familiar enough with the VRS system to open it in a reasonable amount of time, notify your contact of this. If staff take more time to open the VRS system than is required for the appointment, that is not effective. If internet connection at the office is not sufficient to allow for high-speed video to operate smoothly, notify your contact of this. Explain that for you to have full access, it requires a clear, smooth video. Likewise, if the interpreter indicates that they cannot hear or see clearly, include that in your complaint. Notify them this is not effective communication. If you have low vision and cannot see the interpreter clearly, include that in your complaint. If there are many people involved in the discussion and the interpreter cannot keep up, notify your contact of this. Explain that a large part of interpreting is being able to read the room. Because VRI interpreters have very limited view, sometimes that is not effective. If the discussion is very in-depth and uses a lot of medical terminology and the interpreter is not familiar with, explain that a large part of interpreting requires the interpreter to be familiar with the content of the conversation. Oftentimes, an on-site interpreter will be a better fit as they are familiar with the people involved, the content, and the terminology used. How to contact Disability Rights South Carolina. You can call us using the phone number 1-866-275-7273. We also have a TTY phone number if you need. That number is 1-866-232-4525. Last option, you can email us at info@disabilityrightssc.org.